Hello everyone, welcome back to Know It Today, and in this video we will see how we can increase or set the swap size for our Ubuntu server. So I can show you why it was needed. So this is the condition of my server. Okay, I created a droplet and I didn't saw the requirement, the hardware requirement, and just installed Coolify, which is very cool. Actually, it allows you to host different applications, and it's you should check it out, and later I am going to make a video on it, of course. But let's now address the elephant in the room, that is creating a swap, why we need it. So this is the condition. My resources, like, they were shooting up because I was running low on resources. Okay, so what happened? So the requirements for this, right, minimum resources required for Coolify was 2 CPUs, 2 GB memory, 30 plus GB of storage for the images, and what I had was totally out of the scope. 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM, 25 GB storage. So this is definitely not going to work. So still, then what I did is I created another droplet. This is my new droplet, which I'll SSH into. Now I am inside my droplet. So this is the new droplet, and it has the following configuration. So regular Intel processor, 1 CPU. Still I'm using 1 CPU because 2 CPUs are very expensive. This is the condition of 2 CPUs, $18, and 2 GB RAM. So we have minimum RAM requirement fulfilled here, and SSD is there, 50 GB. So now we got some extra space with the minimum requirement. Okay, and I'm not going to run anything else on it except Next.js project, one Next.js site. So I think that will suffice. So where we need heavy processor requirements, so it is mostly required like when the processes like heavy process like build is created. Okay, when the build is created, a lot of process happens. Okay, and they consume a lot of memory. So in those scenarios we need to have some extra space. So for that purpose we'll create a swap space, and I'm going to follow this guide on how to create a swap. I'll link this in the description. So let's go. Copy paste the command here, show. So it is not showing anything, right? So if you don't get back in, this does not have any swap space available currently. We can also do free edge. So memory, this is our RAM, 1.9 GB. 325 MB is currently being used by the operating system. This is the amount of RAM we have free. Okay, and let's start with next step. We'll do this DFF. Okay, so what it is doing, that checking available space on the hard drive. Okay, we'll check the current disk usage, how much disk is getting usage. So yeah, this is our disk, 48 GB, 1.9 GB is used. Okay, and 46 GB almost is pending, like it's free, and 4% is the usage overall. So with this in mind, okay, now what we are going to do is a basic principle which you will most commonly get to hear about creating swap sizes. It should be amount equal to or double the amount of RAM. So if we have 2 GB of RAM, so it should be either 4 GB or 2 GB extra swap. Okay, so another good rule of thumb is that anything over 4 GB of swap is probably unnecessary if you are just using it as a RAM fallback. So the best way of creating swap file is with the fellowkit program. It's a program in that, and it will create a file of the size that we specify. So 1 GB of RAM with this, and we got 2 GB. So we'll start with that. I'll change it to 4 GB because we have 2 GB RAM. So this amount of swap we have created. So we will verify this with this command, lslh swap file, because it is created in the root directory, right? So yeah, 4 GB. Here they created 1 GB and we created 4 GB. So this is verified. Now we will need to be like, we definitely need to enable the swap. So this is the permission we need to give. So this is how we will change the permission, so that only root users are accessible. Now we'll verify the permissions. Let's see, same command that we run above. So these permissions are taken away. Only read write permission to users. Only root user had the read and write flags enabled. Okay. Now we can mark the file as swap space by typing. So we'll have to do mk swap, and this is our swap file done, and allocation is done. Now after making the file, marking the file, we can enable the swap file on our system to start using it. So our system is not using the swap right now. So let's turn on the swap by using sudo swap on. Okay. Now let's see. Show. Okay. Done. This is also done. Now we'll do the free h. Again we'll see how much memory is free. So here before we were saying it was empty, right? You see that 0 byte, so no swap was there. Now we have a swap which is 4 GB in memory, and it is currently free entirely because it's not getting used. So this is not currently permanent. For current session it is enabled. So when we did swap on, it was enabled for current session only. So now what we need to do is, whenever we reboot, this swap settings should be retained. Okay, and for that we need to do is, so at this location we need to add a swap file. So we'll back up this file in case anything goes wrong. So let's do. So currently we are going to copy from this to this, like we'll create a backup. Okay, now we'll echo from here to here. Let's go. We are almost close. Okay, so tuning your swap settings, so we can improve our swap settings more. Swappiness property, we can like tell how often we want our hard disk memory that we created swap from to be used as a swap or in place of RAM. Okay, so from RAM the data goes to swap space. With values close to 0, the kernel will not swap data to the disk unless absolutely necessary, like your RAM is totally full. So when your RAM is almost full, then only it does that. Okay, because RAM is very closest to your system CPU, and reading from your hard disk or SSD takes much longer time than reading directly from RAM. So that's why we don't usually use swap. We have the option to have complete memory, but sometimes there are processes which generally sits idle or run in background. For those we can have swap, right? So values that are closest to 100 will try to put more data into swap and effort to keep more RAM space free. So free RAM is not good. If your RAM is free and your swap is almost getting used, no sense in that. You want your RAM to be used, but just you don't want it to be getting full. Okay, that's what we want. We don't want our RAM to get full and nothing to run on. So there is no space on RAM to have more processes to run on. So yeah, we can see the value. Let's see the value of the swappiness. It's 60. Okay, it's in 60. Okay, a swappiness setting of 60, not a bad value. For a server you might want to move it to closer to 0. So yeah, if we are running it on a local, then it's fine, right? It's my desktop, local desktop. It is not going to impact my users. So when I'm running Ubuntu on my local machine, I'm using Ubuntu as my primary OS, then it's good. 60 is good. A little bit delay in processes won't harm me. I can do something else. But if a particular user if there are multiple users, let's say, who are hitting request to our server, and that time our server responds very slowly, then it's going to hurt our business. So that's one point we need to keep in mind. Okay, so we try to move it to closer to 0, but we don't know which value is going to be good, right? So let's do systemctl, and like, so here they are suggesting to do it 10. Let's do it 10. So value is 10. So now this setting will persist, and we can set this value automatically at restart by adding the line. Okay, so let's edit. Now we are in this file. this file is open, and we have to, at the bottom we have to add this configuration. So right now there is nothing here, and we'll add it. Now to exit, we'll press Ctrl X, and we'll press Y to save the changes and enter. We can review again if the changes are there in account. Yeah, here. Ctrl X. No, nothing changed. Now cache pressure setting. System, okay. And we want this to be correct. So currently this value is 100. So what we want is, this is as this is very frequently accessed, so it is our system removes inode information cache too quickly. So we can set this to a more conservative value like 50 by typing. Okay, let's do it. It's 50 now. Now this is only valid for current session, so now we need to add again to our systemctl file. Welcome back, and let's go to the end. Sorry, I am not a Vim user. So this is the value, VMS VFS cache pressure. We are setting it to 50. Okay, so finally all the steps are done. There will be some space available for heavy processors that are running, that are memory extensive, that are RAM hungry, and they will be able to run with the help of this swap space, the extra space which we have in our hard disk or SSD. Okay, this helps in out of memory errors. So let's save it, and yes, Ctrl X, Y, enter. So we have successfully done checking our swap. Let's see, free edge. I hope this video helped you. Of course, article is always there for you, but watching it along and seeing if it really works or not is really helpful, right? So give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends, consider it as your documentation for whenever you need to do this. See you in the next one. Till then, bye bye.